Hey everyone, it's Kara here from Boho, and I'm a little excited today because this is my first YouTube video in quite some time, at least for this channel. A lot of you know that I was going to take the entire summer off to hike the Appalachian Trail from Georgia to Maine. Unfortunately, things don't always work out as planned. I was able to complete the entire state of Georgia, which was about 100 miles, a little bit less. And then I started having some foot issues. If you were following along on my other channel, my AT channel, then you know all about that. And if not, then you can go check it out for yourself. And I kind of rambled a lot over there, so I don't want to do it here. But long story short, I wasn't able to complete my hike. I am back home. I'm recovering very, very well. And I'm just kind of focusing on spending time with the family, focusing on my recovery and my health, and I'm already making plans to reattempt my thru hike next year. So I'm excited to report though that I am back reporting for duty here on my main channel, and I'm going to be showing you a new bullet journal that I just started just a couple weeks ago. I did spend about a month here at home where I wasn't bullet journaling or planning. I was just focusing on my recovery because my plan was to get back out on trail as soon as I recovered. Unfortunately, that ended up taking too long, so I wasn't able to get back out there. And once I realized that I wasn't going to be able to get back out there this year, I was like, I need a bullet journal in my life. It's what I'm missing. I need it back. I need some sense of normalcy. Give me a journal. So I went kind of searching through all of my notebooks that I have upstairs. I have a bunch of unused notebooks. I was thinking about going back into my old journal, the one that I was in. However, I felt like I needed a fresh start. So going through my shelves, I found this little journal. Now, this is quite the departure for me because I'm normally a Leuchtturm girl all the way, but I had this notebook sitting there and it's really, really pretty. It's got the kind of gold glittery stuff going on here. And this journal is actually from Chronicle Books. They don't necessarily specialize in journals, but they do a lot of publishing. And I found it on Amazon a while back, and it's got the pretty gold edging on the pages too. I don't know that it's as good a quality binding wise as like a Leuchtturm or a Scribbles That Matter or something like that. However, the paper in it is really, really nice. I'm going to open it to the back. Oh, and it comes with some cute little stickers, which are always awesome. I don't know that I'll use them because I don't use stickers a whole lot, but it's nice to know that they're there. This is the back where I did some pen tests. So this is with some fountain pens. You can see on the back side, there's literally no bleed through, no ghosting whatsoever. This paper is super thick and it's a nice bright white. It's not like a cream or off-white color. So yeah, I was just testing out some different pens. I was counting all of the dots. The big thing with this journal is that these dots are closer together than your regular 5mm dot grid. And oh gosh, now I'm looking for a ruler because I've been meaning to measure to see how far apart these are. I want to say they're 4mm. But what that means is that there's actually more dots per page than a regular A5. And I'm going to compare it to an A5 size notebook here real quick. All right, so let's see. I have grabbed a Rhodia dot grid. This is a true A5 size, and we'll compare it. It's definitely wider and it's a little bit shorter. So it's a little bit wider there. And then I don't know if you can really see how much shorter it is. It's just a tiny little sliver shorter than a true A5. So a little different dimensions than what I'm used to. The dot grid is way smaller. I kind of have been loving that though because I have a ridiculous amount of dots. So I have 34 across and 48 down, which is really, really great. The kicker to that is that you have to be able to write super tiny if you want to be writing one line per little square dots. You know what I mean. But yeah, the journal itself, it seems really well made. The only thing I'm worried about, I don't know if you can hear this. Let's see. It squeaks, like the binding squeaks, like it's just gonna fall apart, if you know what I mean. It does lay pretty flat though, so I don't know. I really like it. It's definitely a departure from what I had before. It's got one little bookmark here, and the pages are numbered, which is super nice. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of show you what's going on in this journal. I'm not doing any planning in it on film today. I am gonna get back to Plan With Me videos next month for July. I'm kind of taking the rest of the month of June to really focus in on family and my health, and then I'm getting like full-time back to work on July 1st. So this is just kind of me showing you what's going on in my planning world, a little teaser for what's to come starting in July. All right, I just thought my little moon and stars paper clip goes so well with it. It's so cute. Also, I'm totally geeking out now. My little moon and stars washi tape. I need to use this in here at some point because it just fits so well. It all goes beautifully together and I love it. Okay, stop being a dork, Kara. Let's just show off the journal. Okay. So it's got this nice little red cover in front. It has a ton of pages for an index. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's it. I've got my future log set up, but I haven't used it yet. And this has kind of been a theme of mine with my past journals, is that I set up a future log because I feel like my bullet journal is not complete without a future log, but then I don't really use it. I've been using my Google calendars for almost everything future planning for a long, long time now. I don't know why I ever even put a future log in my bullet journal, but it's there. I'll probably fill it in with birthdays and anniversaries and holidays and things like that. And one of the very first spreads that I did, this was something that I took directly from the bullet journal method book, was this list called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it's kind of the idea of little goals and tasks that you have for the next 1 hour, 2 days, 3 weeks, 4 months, and 5 years. And I like to split mine between personal and professional. So I actually have 2 sets of goals and tasks for this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this is something that I'd like to do ideally at the beginning of every month, because this 1 hour, 2 days, and 3 weeks, this obviously is going to be obsolete. It's actually already obsolete. I did this on May 25th. So this whole section down here is all obsolete already. There's still a couple things that I'd like to finish on them, but I don't have immediate, like within the next hour, within the next 2 days goals right now because these are obsolete already. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. So yeah, I really love this exercise because it forces me to really think about, I think about my big goals and my long-term goals often and regularly, but I don't often think about what's coming up in the very near future. I have a very futuristic mindset. I think long-term, and sometimes things in the short term kind of fall through the cracks, or I'm not working on simple things that could really improve my life or my business in the short term because I'm thinking so far ahead. So this is really great for me to kind of visualize those things. So I think I'm going to kind of work this into maybe make it a 3-2-1 at the beginning of each month, and then quarterly, like 4 times a year, I could kind of look at the 4 months and 5 years goals. I think that's kind of probably how I'm going to be breaking it down in the future. All right, next page is my level 10 life. One of my big things when starting this journal is that I really wanted a place to house my goals. It's something that I had gotten away from for a little bit, kind of in the day-to-day grind and day-to-day planning. And it was really important to me to have something where I could look back and actually look at my actual goals from time to time. So I have a reminder set up in my phone actually at the beginning of every month on the 1st to do a monthly review. And that monthly review includes coming in and actually looking at, reading over my goals and assessing and seeing how I'm doing. Because in the past, I kind of had a bad habit of setting the goals and making the spreads and all that sort of stuff, but then never looking at it. And when you don't look at it, you kind of fail to keep moving forward on those goals. So this was important to me. Level 10 Life, for those of you that don't know, is something I picked up from an author named Hal Elrod. He wrote The Miracle Morning. And I really love this exercise. In his book, he actually has you evaluating 10 different areas of your life. I've actually narrowed it down to 8 that really matter to me, and those are the ones that I assess on a pretty regular basis. So I plan on doing this quarterly, actually filling this in. But the concept is you just think about that area of your life and just kind of in your gut, how do you feel on a scale of 1 to 10? How do you feel you're doing in that area? And for me personally, it's not about, I don't think I'll ever be a 10 in all areas. I feel like it's probably impossible to be a 10 in all areas, because some things, like if you focus more on career and finances, for example, your relationships and your recreation, like fun, entertainment, those things might drop a little bit. It's kind of a balancing act. And I just like kind of assessing myself and seeing where I'm at. And what I've started doing, and you'll see going forward in this journal, is that I keep every week a level 10 focus. So I'm basically pulling one column here that I really want to focus on that week so that I'm working to improve at least in one area. One thing that I really liked doing this time around, in the past, I've written out like 3 little mini goals for each area of my life. This time I decided, I'm not going to write out little goals for each area because I'm going to have that focus weekly. So that's where I can kind of have my weekly goals based on my level 10 life. This time I wanted to kind of write out some affirmations for each area, kind of some ideal what this area means to me. For example, in relationships, I give and receive love freely and fully in my relationships. I enjoy sharing the real me with everyone that I love. So that's like my ideal kind of relationships area, if you want to put it that way. Wellness, which is the one I've been focusing on the last few weeks, says I have complete power over my health and well-being. I love and care for my body, and I give myself permission to heal and grow strong. So what I like about that is I can come back and kind of read that and say, okay, like that is what I aspire to in my wellness. All right, moving on. This was my setup. I started right at the end of May, so I decided to do the traditional monthly log. So I had the last few days of May and then all of June here. I started out just doing regular traditional bullet journal style dailies. However, I very quickly realized that I kind of wanted a little bit more structure and more data. So starting on Monday, you'll see that's why nothing's crossed off. I actually started a weekly spread. So this is my weekly spread that I used that first week and then last week. And you'll see it has a lot of information on it. I have my level 10 focus there. So that week I was focusing on 30 minutes of exercise per day and 8 hours of sleep per night. I have a productivity tracker, which I actually started using this app on my MacBook called Timing. It's Timing for Mac, something like that. But it keeps track of your time on your computer and it gives you a productivity score at the end of the day. So that is what I kind of base that on. And I'm not using that app anymore. It only had a 2-week trial and it was a little glitchy. There were some things that weren't really working quite right and I didn't feel like I was getting an accurate score. So I decided not to pay for the full version, but it was kind of neat to see my activity throughout the day scored. So basically it would give me extra points for working on like specific projects that I categorize like in certain apps on my computer, and then like browsing on social media, it would take away points and things like that and give me a general productivity score at the end of the day. So really neat. Unfortunately, a little too glitchy for me, so won't be using that in the future, but I did think it was a really neat thing to track. I had the weather up top. Now this I filled in at the very beginning of the week just to give me an overview and an idea of what the weather was going to be like for the rest of the week. I do still on a daily basis check my weather app just to see what's going on. But it's kind of nice. I can plan out my week, say, okay, Tuesday is supposed to be raining. That means like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there's probably like a chance of rain. So I should probably put all my errands at the end of the week, basically because I'm a giant weirdo and I hate driving in the rain. Anyway, and then on the dailies, each daily box has a ton of data as well. So this little barbell is for strength training, which you can see I haven't done any of yet, and you'll see going forward I still haven't. This little heart rate thingy-mabobber is for cardio. So that's walking, riding my bicycle, anything cardio really. The 2Zs is for hours of sleep, and then the little footsteps is my total steps for the day. So again, I was focusing on my wellness category from level 10, so all those things were really important for me to track. One thing that I did not like about this spread, and I've done spreads similar to this in the past without quite so much data on them, and I've always used the bottom section for like some journaling at the end of the day, but I'm actually keeping all of my journaling in a regular notebook right now, like just a lined notebook, regular Dear Diary type stuff. So I wasn't using that for journaling, and I was kind of sad I had all that extra space. So on the following week, oh wait, we'll get to the following week soon. This is my health and fitness goals. So I decided that, you know, I do want to track my progress. So I'm tracking my weight and my measurements, but at the same time, I also want to reward myself more for activity, for things that I'm doing to improve my health, rather than reward myself for like pounds lost and things like that. So I do have this tracker just for the data of how I'm doing, but on the next page I have my activity rewards. And what I decided to do here was actually reward myself for certain activities. So I've got strength training is $1, 30 minutes of cardio is $1, eating clean all day is $1, no alcohol is $1, lose 1 pound, that's the only like measurement metric that I have. Lose 1 pound is $5. Overnight hike is $5. And a perfect week, like a week where I actually do all of these things, would be $10. And I've got all these little rewards that I can work towards. So I've got a shaker bottle, which actually I need to update this. I think I am up to the 10. Starbucks gift cards, iTunes gift cards, Peloton boutique, spa day, dinner and a movie, Amazon gift cards, all these little rewards that I can work towards. And I kind of really liked the idea of rewarding myself for doing things instead of just losing pounds, because pounds don't matter. The number on the scale doesn't matter. It's how you feel and how you're doing health-wise that matters. So I don't care if I stay 185 pounds forever, as long as I feel healthy. Right now, I don't feel healthy. I feel sluggish and just tired all the time, and I don't want to feel that way anymore, which leads me to my why. I decided to put the breakdown of my goal, opposite of my weight tracking and my measurements page, because I don't want to lose sight when I'm tracking these things. I don't want any of this to distract me from my why. This is just a way to track my progress. This is not a way to assess how I feel about myself. You know, does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. Anyway, I laid out my goal on this side so that anytime I'm going to put in numbers here, I don't get distracted by the numbers. I've got my why. What's important is I want to feel like myself again. I don't want to feel sluggish and unhealthy anymore. It's not about the number on the scale, but rather how I feel in my own skin. So that's really important for me to remember, because I can sometimes get caught up, especially in this number on the scale, and I know a lot of us can. I can get caught up with that. So I thought it was important to have my goal and my why over here. All right, and then I just hand lettered this because I had that empty page before what's coming next. Up next is my workout tracker, and this is a workout that my personal trainer, Marissa, had laid out for me. Gosh, I think it was last March or the year before, I don't know. But I decided I'm gonna go back to the basics with this strength training plan. So I have every day of the week and the strength training that I'm going to be doing. I haven't started this yet. I wanted to kind of get myself back in the swing of cardio and just general activity every day, but I think next week is going to be the week. So week 1 is going to be next Monday, and I've got my plan for every day of the week, Monday through Friday. And then we have our next week. You'll notice it's kind of empty. So here's what happened. I had Where's my last weekly spread? Here it is. So I had all this empty space, right? So I'm like, okay, I am just going to cut this off and make them smaller, and I'll use up that empty space otherwise, which honestly was a great idea. I really liked it. Unfortunately, last week was kind of a wash all the way around. I got sick, my daughter got sick, my husband had to go out of town. He left on Wednesday. He actually raced a half Ironman on Sunday in Wisconsin. He did amazing, by the way. Super proud of him. But basically, it was just kind of a crazy week. I didn't end up getting hardly anything done. I did work on some projects around the house, but I wasn't planning the way I should have been planning. You can see I fell off tracking my productivity. I didn't even plan for Thursday through Sunday. I did like this layout. I think I would love this layout if I use it properly. You'll see what I did for this week coming up, but breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that was kind of cool to have that added in with all that extra space. And then my activity points, I was tracking those for each day until I didn't. But that happens to all of us, right? We all have those weeks where, best laid plans and all that. So that brings us to this week. And I think this is the last thing. Yep. Last thing, this week I really wanted to, I liked these weekly spreads. However, I felt right now it was too much. Once July comes around and things kind of calm down around this house, I'll be able to focus more into like tracking all of this data and everything. But right now I really need something simple that's just what I need to get done and maybe some light tracking. So I decided to split this up, and all I did, someone was asking me on Instagram how I laid this out. I just did my little calendar here. So that's 7 squares across. And then I drew the line down, and then I just made sure I had the same space on the opposite side. And then take however many dots you have here and divide that by 4. And that's your sections for your days. It's going to be very, very different if you have a standard A5 5mm dot grid, because our dot grid sizes are off, but really, really easy spread to set up. Again, I have the weather. I have a little section for notes if I need it. On the right-hand side, I have my level 10 focus, and then I have 3 little trackers going on. So I've got my productivity, which at this point, I don't have that app anymore, so I'm kind of going with a gut feeling on how I did each day. We're going to see if I keep that up or not. Not sure. Sleep, I'm tracking that in hours here. Sleep is a struggle for me right now, y'all. I am trying to get 8 hours. Unfortunately, Monday, I only got 6 hours. My daughter and I stayed up late because we went to see Aladdin in theaters. And then last night I had to go pick up my husband from the airport at like 1 a.m. So we didn't get home until 2. I didn't get to sleep until like 2:30. So yeah, I'm going to have a lot of sleep to catch up on the rest of this week. And then finally, my mood tracking. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm just kind of guesstimating at the end of the day how I felt about that. And then I am going to connect these like a line graph at the end of the week. And then the rest on the interior is pretty simple. I've got my days of the week, enough room for a few tasks, and then a little section for next week there too, so I can jot down anything else that's coming up. And I really, really like this layout. It's super simple. It kind of reminds me of just my regular dailies. Like if you see in the very beginning of this journal somewhere, here we go. These are my regular dailies when I'm just doing dailies and not weekly spreads. It's kind of exactly the same thing. It's just I've sectioned off the right and left hand side so that I can add a little bit of data and track some things in there and have my focus front and center every day when I open my journal. So yeah, that is my journal in a nutshell. I don't think I mentioned how many pages this notebook has. It has 185 numbered pages. It's not as many as a lot of other notebooks, but the pages are really thick. And I actually kind of like that it doesn't have as many pages, because I tend to want to switch notebooks more often. Because I have a lot of notebooks and I want to use them all because I'm obsessed like that. So I'm kind of glad it has, you know, 185 pages. I feel like I'll get through this pretty quick. I mean, I've only been in it for 3 weeks and I'm already on page 28. So I'm enjoying it. I'm liking it. I'm worried about the spine. I'm worried that the binding is gonna mess up on it, but we'll kind of see. One other thing, I have been sticking to a very minimalist color palette, as you noticed. I am using my Tombow mono drawing pen in 03. It's working pretty well. I think I might actually switch to the 01, which is a thinner tip, just because the dot grid is so close together. I struggle to write so tiny with the 03. So we'll see. I might switch on that next week. And then I'm using my Tombow 025 dual brush pen. Color name off the top of my head, I don't know it. I think it's a golden something. I'll put it in the description box for y'all. But I thought it was the perfect color to kind of go with the black and gold of this journal. So I don't know if I'll stick to just black and gold for the length of using this journal. Knowing me, I'll probably get bored and use a different color or use a ton of bright colors or pastel colors because I just like colors. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed that little flip through. I will be back at the very end of this month, at the end of June, to do a little plan with me for the month of July with you all. And yeah, if you want to keep up with what's going on in my day-to-day, I have been posting on Instagram more regularly again. So I'd love to see you over there. All that's in the description box below. And yeah, I'll see you guys really soon. Bye, y'all.